Oh man, everybody loves a good Kershaw, right? I wasn't too impressed with Kershaw in the very beginning of my knife collecting days. I just wasn't. I don't know. I was always into the 4-inch blades, and every time I saw Kershaw, I just thought, man, that's a tiny knife. Who would need something like that? People that like tiny knives. I've came around to it. I've warmed up to it, and now I'm carrying. I got a little small collection of the Blur. I do like the Blur series of Kershaw. So let's go ahead and let's talk blades, everybody. That's what we're into today. Kershaw Blur. Yes. Did I get another Blur? Yes, I did. This is my third Kershaw Blur. The first one I ever got was a Tonto version, half serrated. Very tactical, very awesome looking, non-reflective coating. Tonto knife. It had Sandvik steel, and I'm not a huge fan of Sandvik steel. You guys know this. It's okay. It works, but it dulls pretty quickly. But it also takes an edge relatively easily as well. Now, a lot of people say that Sandvik steel is great stuff. I'm on the wire. Sometimes I think it's good steel. Sometimes I think it's crap steel. I guess it just depends on what you're cutting and how you're using it. I've had okay experience with it. I'm not gonna bash on it too bad. Can't. I really can't. When I know there's worse steels out there. So, and there are, and we all know that there are some really bad, awful junk steels out there. So, yeah. Anyways, this is a special Blur. It's not your typical Blur. All right. This one has a glass breaker on it. Ta-da! You open up the box, you get this plastic thing that holds the knife, and of course you get your warranty information and all that good and happy jazz in there. Here it is. 1670 GBBLKST Blur. Alright, made in USA, very generic boxing. And here's the knife. Alright, so you got that dark black coating, and yes, I added my own custom made, I think I got this from eBay. It's custom made deep carry pocket clip for the Blur, Kershaw Blur knives only. I like to carry my knives deep carry as much as I can possibly afford to. It just feels a little bit more secure in my personal opinion. If you can get a deep carry pocket knife, I suggest it highly. It just feels less likely of it to be falling out of the pocket, and it feels, it's hiding, because normally this knife would be sticking up about that much out of the pocket. Now it's all the way in the pocket. It just seems to work. All right, so if it works, right? So your typical Blur quality Kershaw quality knife. You got your half serrations that are kind of rounded off right there, and you got your, what is that, clip point? I can't really tell. I can't remember what they. Let's see here. Recurve. Okay, this might be a recurve, right? Right there. At a recurve. Yeah, I want to say that. No. Okay, so not a clip point then. Yeah. All right. Recurve. We'll go with that. So yeah, it's not too bad. If you guys like fast opening knives, their speed safe technology from Kershaw is fantastic. I think it's the best assisted mechanism on the market, at least in my personal opinion. Everybody else has different stuff. CRKT has theirs. Cold Steel has theirs as well. SOG sucks. I absolutely hate SOG. I've owned a Trident from them, and they're having brain farts. I'm sorry. Their mechanism for their assisted opening sucks. It failed twice on me, and it broke in the very end. It lasted maybe 3 years, and it just got gritty, and it was terrible. And you guys all heard the story of my second purchase of SOG knife. I was in the parking lot of a Lowe's. I was cutting it out of the clamshell packing, and I knew I needed a knife And I was using scissors when I did this, and they were just awful, awful condition. But I needed a knife at the time, and I pulled out this little SOG knife that I was like, all right, this is gonna be great, you know. And the mechanism didn't work at all. It seized up. It was broken before I even got to it, and then I went and I exchanged it for a like knife from the SOG, and that too was terrible. It didn't even open correctly, and there was something clicking around in there, and it SOG knives are trash. They're absolute garbage. The last few SOG knives I had have broken from normal use. I took one camping and the handle broke. It was just garbage. SOG knives don't I don't recommend SOG to anybody. Nobody likes soggy cereal. So I have a soggy knife, right? Man, I hate saying that because it's just I wanted so much to like SOG. I just couldn't do it. Anyways, I digress. This is the best assisted mechanism on the market, at least in my opinion. Everything's nice and confident. It's fast. It doesn't fail you. I think the very first blur that I have, and I still have it, my very first one, it's in the box just right across the way. I'm not going to go looking through it. It's going to be a few, at least a good 30 minutes before I find it. It's still going. The mechanism is still tried and true. It is still like it was brand new out of the box. It hasn't weakened. It hasn't gotten gritty, and if it has, it's been sitting in my pocket because I have been carrying it a lot, and it just hasn't failed on me at all. And I am still ever so grateful how sturdy their speed safe mechanism is. It's still crisp, it's still snappy, and it's fantastic. I can sit here and play with my knife all day. If it's from Kershaw and it's a speed safe, I've had no bad experiences with it, at least through my own personal use with it. So it's great stuff. I really do like their speed safe, and I really do like the blur so much that I purchased this one because it has ding ding a glass breaker. And it's not anything too crazy, everybody. It's kind of glued in place. I've noticed it because I've seen little glossy areas around it, which means glue was used. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, that just depends on how you use this thing. It's a glass breaker. If you tend to use it for anything else that's not designed for you, run the risk of either breaking it or losing it or it being loose and just falling out. Of course, that goes on all the parameters of what I just described in the very first word of it all. But it works, and I think it's really cool. It's a nice little tactical feature on this knife. So if you had to, you could break some glass with it, get out of a sticky situation. So I really do like that. This rough tread, this rubberized tread on here is really nice too. It's great for grip. And I really do like that slanted thumb stud, so that way you need to, you can get to it, you can just push it up, and the rest is just history. It just snaps open with authority, and I love that. So here we go. It's going to be on the blade right there. You got 1670 GBBLKST, Kai patented, Ken Onion design. You got the American flag on there. Flip it around, and there's nothing else. I don't know why I was expecting there to be something. I've been doing these videos back on back. Don't blame me. Oh, here it is. Kershaw Speed Safe USA. So very minimal on the text, which is always a win for me, and I really do appreciate this thing is American made. At least I think it is. Is it? Or is it China? Oregon. Okay, USA. Yeah. All right. I mean, I'm sure some of their parts might come from China, for all I know. But having an American-made knife is always great, and this being a good old Kershaw, you can't go wrong with a knife like this. If you want something that's not too scary, a little bit more in the realms of normal, this is kind of, at least my take, and this is also Sandvik steel. This is my newer purchase. Before this, though, was this blur. Here it is. Bam. So not too much different, except for the blade steel is different. The blade steel on this thing is S30V? Yes, it is. S30V. Of course, unfortunately, I carried the hell out of this knife, and um, this pocket clip actually came from that knife. I just switched the pocket clips. The older knife pocket clip on this thing was all beat up, as was the same of the other pocket clip that went to the very first blur that I have with the Tonto style blade and half serrations. Pocket clip on that thing was so bad. It got bent twice. I had to bend it back twice. So these pocket clips are not the best, but they do ride pretty low. So they are great. But they have a little bit of, you're going to be sticking out a little bit, especially if you're wearing jeans. It's just going to, be a little rough on the pocket because of how low it rides and how clean it is. It's just, and of course, that rough rubber texturized grip right there can always make things slightly difficult when need be. So you got pillar construction on the back. I'm going to put this back here. This one's a little cleaner. You got pillar construction on the back, which means you can actually go in there and blow all the dust out. It's easy, clean, open construction, which is great. Smooth opening, very crisp snap to it. It's just, if you're looking for something that you could use as a regular EDC without making it look too scary, this is kind of the go-to, in my opinion. It's fantastic for that. I've been carrying it now for a couple of weeks, this new one, and it hasn't failed me yet. I love the ergonomics on this thing. It's great. So we'll get into the specs of it, obviously, so that way you guys know what you're getting yourself into if you decide to get the knife. Now, if you are interested in this one, I'm going to tell you right now, the S30V steel is fantastic. Obviously, it's going to cost more because the steel, the grade of steel is a little higher, obviously, than your typical Sandvik steel. I wanted one in S30V. I found one in S30V, but you're looking at spending close to 100, if not just a little over 100 for this particular model. Same aluminum handle, but if you're talking you want to get a tactical deep carry pocket clip, you would have to go to eBay for that, or MXG Gear. I think they might have it. I think they might. I think MSG Gear might have. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. Just look around. You'll find different little things. The cheaper they are, the better, but you also want to make sure that it's decent quality as well, so just be aware of that. So you're looking at 3.5 inches with a cutting edge of 3 1/4, maybe 3 3/8, give or take. Blade, and overall 8 inches with a 4.5. It's including the glass breaker. No, 4.5 inches of handle. Of course, that glass breaker sticking out. I always carry tip up because this doesn't have a lock feature like on their Leak designs. So when you keep it in your pocket, it just, in my opinion, having it up against the seam makes it a little bit more secure so it doesn't accidentally deploy in your pocket. Not that I'm saying that it ever will. It hasn't. Even when I was carrying it tipped down, it never has. You really got to press on this thing in order for it to deploy. So still, it's just an extra precaution that I normally have. So when it's in my pocket like this, it's all the way to the very back, holding the spine down so it's less likely for anything and any type of weird accident to happen, obviously. So yeah, get into the weight of it. Get the scale out. Hello. All right. So you're looking at a 3.88 under 4 ounces. That is a win in my book because you want that sweet spot to be around 5 ounces if you can. But, that's just my personal take. A lot of people want it as light as possible, but with the materials and the blade steel and all this and that, it can differ from time to time. Get my calipers out. Here it is. So on the handle, you're looking at a 11.6, and on the blade, you're looking at a 2.9. Now, I gotta be honest with you, this knife is good for your simple tasks. When I say this knife is a tactical knife, if you're looking for this would be a great backup knife. This would. If you're kind of like I like the plain Jane kind of knives, this is your go-to. Now, the cost on this knife is like 75? Something like that. It was under $80, and that's also another win. If you want a decent knife that isn't going to be too cheap, this is something I would suggest you get. It's got quick deployment on there. I really do feel that that thumb stud is quite comfortable because it just fits in that slot, in that shape right there. And then all I got to do is press out or even up, and it launches open with authority. So it's really, really good. It might not be too aesthetically pleasing to some. I know that when I first saw this, I wasn't too interested in the handle, but this rubberized texture right here, as rough as it is and as coarse as it is, it feels good because it does provide plenty of grip. It really does. I'm really, really surprised. And it being a typical knife, it works in such, and the ergonomics work just as well. So cutting things open with this thing, cutting boxes open, you're cutting rope, you're whatever, those serrations really do a really, really good amount of cutting. So it's a fantastic knife all around. I have nothing bad to say about it. I really don't. The weight's good. Everything's great. And the liner lock is easy to get to because it's got the jimping there. So all you got to do is just press it out the way, close it. I can do this one-handed. It's good stuff. This is very typical. I think you can get some of these at Big Five, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, or you can just go through Amazon like I did and get yourself one of these through there. Get it, 1-2 day shipping, whatever. Not bad. Doesn't break the bank. Oh, excuse me, I'm stretching right now. So this is, one of those like throw in your pocket and go kind of knives, and it's not too big, too obtrusive, or scary. It's your typical folder for your plain Jane attitude, if you're into that. Now, like I said, this one's going to be a little bit more, obviously way more than this one. They come in various flavors and colors, so want one that's tiger stripe, they got that weird kind of black and white tiger stripe thing going on. Got one in it's like a royal blue, I think, and then a couple of other ones, the black. You got some other weird colors too. I think I saw one in yellow, and there was one in green, something like, I don't know. They all over the place with this stuff. But Kershaw is a great company that sells great items, great knives, in my opinion. And I wanted one because it had the glass breaker on there, and I was like, man, I really do want one, and I don't have one in a recurve, so why not, Anyways, love that. So if you just want something that doesn't look too scary, yeah, this will do. 3.5 inches, that's plenty of cutting room. And it doesn't look like a weapon. It looks more like a tool than anything else, at least in my personal opinion. So go ahead and slash that like button, stab the subscribe, slice that bell icon so you guys are notified anytime I post new stuff in these craziest of days. Please, everybody, please be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, and I'll see you all awesome people in the next video.